Hi, we're here on the last day of Elim Bible Week Ireland, and it's been an amazing week where God has just come in such a real way, and we've been really blessed by the teaching and by what God has done and how He spoke to us. And today we've got Malcolm Duncan with us, and we're just going to chat a wee bit with Malcolm. Malcolm, we just want to say thank you because it's been such a blessing to have you, and we really appreciate you pouring what you have in your life into the people of Elim and Ireland, so thank you.
I think I should be thanking you. It's been a remarkable week, and I think history will probably show that it's been a very significant week for the life of Elim and what God is calling it to be and do in the island of Ireland. I think people's lives have been changed, individuals have been challenged, inspired. I think folk have been convicted of sin, but there's been a great deal of liberty as well. It's been a fantastic first week here in the University of Ulster in Jordanstown, and I'm sure it's the first of many.
Great. Okay, so you've been amazingly open this week about your life and about some of the struggles you've had, and we've really appreciated it. It's been great to actually have a preacher who hasn't had a facade, and you and Jeff have both been like that. But do you want to tell us maybe just a wee bit about your upbringing and how you came to faith?
I became a Christian in 1986. I was born and brought up in Rathcoole, the youngest of 5, and my family background, without going into all the detail of it on the video, was very difficult. I had a very difficult relationship with my father for a number of reasons, and I was converted by a God who was my father and who wanted me to know that beyond anything else, and who gave me hope and comfort and encouragement, and it's the most significant decision that I've ever made, and deeply changed me. It wasn't just a kind of, my conversion was a very kind of Pauline moment, and God has been so gracious and faithful to me. It's been amazing.
Brilliant. Okay, so obviously you got saved. Where did it go from there? Obviously now you're obviously a pastor and involved in quite a few things, and we'll touch on that in a wee minute. But how did that develop from in a meeting or whatever it was, to making a decision to where you are now?
It's an interesting question, because when I was converted, I think I knew very quickly, that looking back, I think my reasoning was this: if God is who He says He is, and if He's done what He has done for me, then I need to make Him not just the centre of my life on a Sunday and in the Bible study and in the prayer meeting. I need to decide what I'm going to do with the rest of my life based on what God is and what He's doing in the World. And I had a very specific call to pastoral ministry and to preaching and teaching, and I everything changed. I mean, when I was converted, I was accepted as for a place in a law degree. I knew what I was going to do. Came from Rathcoole. I was going to become a lawyer, and I was going to show the world that people from Rathcoole weren't stupid, and they weren't all in the paramilitaries, and they weren't all bigoted. I was going to go and change the world. I was going to become a lawyer, then I was going to become a judge. And I would have done it, I think, and that sounds really arrogant. I think I would have done it, and then I got converted. And I realised that actually what I wanted to do with my life was change the world, because the gospel changes the world. And I decided that's what I was going to do. So I went off to Mexico for a year, and I did some work there in a place called Tijuana, halfway between Tijuana and Tecate, in an orphanage. Then I came back and went to Scotland, where I studied law and got involved in church planting, and then studied theology, and I've been studying ever since. That was 20 years ago.
Wow. Okay.
And I've been pastoring and leading churches now for nearly 20 years.
Okay. Wow. Okay, so quite a range of experiences there. Wow.
Yeah, but actually it's funny because, I mean, I've done other stuff as well. I'm involved in charitable work, and we'll talk about that in a minute, I'm sure. But at the heart of everything that I do actually is one thing, and that is helping people around me to understand that Jesus is Lord, and that His Lordship changes the world. So I may pastor a church, I may lead a charity, I may talk to politicians, I may write, I may do all of that stuff. But at the heart of all of that, there's only one thing I do, and that is proclaim in my life and actions that Jesus is Lord.
Okay. Great. So tell us then about what you're involved in as far. You've talked this week a lot about community and how church can engage with community. And I know you are, but can you tell us a wee bit about how you do that?
Yeah, sure. So my life is divided into 3 sections. One is I lead a church called Gold Hill Baptist Church in Buckinghamshire, about 20 minutes outside central London. And that has a large percentage of my time, but not all of it. And that's a church that's very committed to involvement in the community now. We run a nursing home, we run a cafe, we run the county youth service. We have 60 youth community projects that run across a week, and a whole range of other things. I also run a charity called Church and Community that helps local churches to get involved in their communities, and that works with about 475 churches in the UK and around 315 or 16 countries around the world. And that basically says, and it's very simple, it says to any local church anywhere in the world, you're called to be good news people. And to be good news people, you have to be committed to at least these 4 things. 1, you've got to be the presence of Jesus in the community, serving the broken, the poor and the excluded. 2, you've got to share Jesus in your words. You've got to proclaim him. 3, you've got to be prophetic, standing up for the marginalised, the poor and the excluded, and speaking out God's heart into society and culture. And 4, you've got to be on your knees in prayer, asking God to use what you're doing to build his kingdom. So Church and Community does that. And then thirdly, I do quite a lot of work with governments in the United Kingdom and the European Union and different parts of the world around human rights and alleviation of poverty and challenging the way the excluded are being treated. Now for me, all of that, leading a local church, being a good father and a good husband, getting involved as a good neighbour with my own folk around me, getting involved in my own local church, preaching, teaching, writing, broadcasting, getting involved in government. For me, all I am doing is what I can do in those 4 areas as a Christian. I'm praying, I'm getting involved, I'm being prophetic, and I'm proclaiming Jesus. So I'm only doing what I ask anybody else to do. Does that make sense?
Yeah, certainly. It's very clear in the Bible. We've got to lead by example as well. So it's great. I'm sure it's great for your own congregation to see that active in its leader. So
I think they respond to it well. And we as a church, we're quite a large church, and but we celebrate. We're not just involved in the community and the stuff that we put our name to. So it's not like Gold Hill is only involved in the community when we run things. Every single person in our church is involved in the community wherever they are and whatever they do. If they're doctors, lawyers, teachers, factory workers, shopkeepers, lollipop ladies, civil servants, elected politicians, pastors, doesn't matter what they are, retired grandparents, it doesn't matter what they are. If you understand that where you are is where God has planted you, and you can serve him there, and it's a sacred place, there is no such thing as a sacred secular divide, then you're in a good place. And I think we've been exploring some of that this week here at Jordanstown.
Well, it's certainly been very, very challenging, I think, to everybody, whether they're in the road of that or whether they're maybe just thinking about that, at every level.
I think sometimes people can think, well, I wouldn't know where to start. Well, just start where you are. Get up and do one thing. If your neighbour needs your help, then help them. If you're in work and you're a Christian, then God is in work with you. And be clear about it. But I don't mean be clear as in when somebody says something, say, oh, I don't believe that, and do the whole shouting thing. I mean be clear in every action and attitude. Ask yourself the simple question, how would Jesus respond here? Then do that. And that's the heart actually of discipleship. We can make the Bible really complicated, and we can make the gospel really complicated. The gospel is not complicated. Jesus is Lord, and the world will one day acknowledge that. That's good news. Salvation is trusting that and then living in its purposes. And to live in the purposes of Jesus can be summed up in one thing. When God asks you to do something, say yes.
Good. And it's just as it is, isn't it? But good. Okay. So this week, what's been your experience of Elim Bible Week Ireland?
I've loved it. I've thought that the sung worship has been fantastic. My friend Jeff has been doing the evenings. I think he's been really, really great. Despite the fact that he called me a Brillo pad last night. But
you got him back today, didn't you?
Well, he did describe himself as a toilet brush. So I think it's great that Elim has had a Brillo pad and a toilet brush as its main speakers this year. Good call.
Good for cleaning up the church or something. I don't know if there's an analogy there somewhere.
But I think it's been great. I think the standard of the venue is excellent. I think the hosting has been great. I think there's been a lot of effort put into it. My only anxiousness would be that the venue isn't big enough would be one anxiousness. And secondly, I think this is about more than Elim, and I think that you guys need to think about that. I think that Elim Bible Week will attract Elim people, but I think maybe God's hand is on you to do something for Ireland, not just for Elim. and you need to work that out. And I don't say that lightly.
Yeah.
I think that that's a prophetic statement, and I think that it has been terrific. It's been biblical, it's been passionate, it's been connected, it's been honest, it's been vulnerable, it's been fiery, but it's been united. It's really, really good. One of the best events I've been at in a long time, I think.
Okay, well, that's a huge statement.
Well, I do. Yeah, I'm at a lot of
events.
events. I do a lot of stuff.
Yeah. Well, once again, we want to say thank you, and we just want to really encourage you tonight at 7:30. It's the last of our meetings, and we would really encourage you. Please, we've encouraged you the whole way through, but you really do not want to miss out. So 7:30 tonight in Georgetown University. I want to say thank you, Malcolm.
You're welcome. The other thing I would say is that I think that if folk can get here, they should get here, and if they can't get here, for either the morning meetings or the evenings, they really should think about getting the DVDs or the CDs, because it's stuff that you'll need. It's not just that you can listen to it again. You're going to need to listen to it again, particularly some of the Bible study stuff, because it's been quite densely packed, hasn't it?
Yeah.
But if you listen to it again and again, it'll be grit for your soul that can help you to grow. But tonight is going to be, there's going to be standing room only here. So if folk are going to come, they're going to need to come. Come if you can. The only reason you don't want to come is either you're dead or you're dying.
Good. Well, listen, thank you. Thanks for your time and everything you've done this week.
You're very welcome. It's an honour.
Blessed be